Hi friends, Valerie Turner with Close to My Heart, and I hope that you enjoyed card number 1. In this video, we are moving on to card number 2, where we are going to do some dry embossing and some other fun techniques. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at card number 2. Here it is per the workshop instructions. Super cute, and anyone would love to receive this card for their birthday. But let's take a look at the Creative Design Studio Makeover card. I just love the softer touch to this card and all of the texture that the dry embossing adds and the bling. So pretty with the softer touch. Let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do on card number 2 is our dry embossing. There are different ways to do the dry embossing to just add that little texture and dimension, a little more interest and feel to your cards. The first thing that we are going to do on card number 2 is our dry embossing. The first thing that you'll want to do is decide which shade of the wisteria that you want to have up on your card. Okay, you know our paper is two-sided. There's the lighter side and the darker side, the lighter side and the darker side. And for this card, I chose to have the darker side up, which means that I'm going to do the dry embossing on the light side, and it will be raised up on the dark side. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. There are a number of different ways that you can do dry embossing. The first way to do dry embossing is with your cutter. Most of your paper trimmers come with a black blade, which it's really not a blade for cutting, it's a blade for embossing or scoring. And you would simply switch out your blade and put on the black one. Okay, that is a real simple and easy way, but if you're like me, you're in a hurry, you just want to put a few dry embossing lines in, or let's get real, you might not know exactly where your dry embossing score blade is at that time. So there's another way that I'm going to show you with your paper cutter, but let me show you another option, and that is with a scoreboard. Close to My Heart used to carry this scoreboard, and I'm hoping that they will bring it back for us. But with the scoreboard, you have all of your lines here, and you would simply put your paper in up to your corner, right? And then choose your increments. So let's say we're going to do half, right? You're going to hold your paper and you're just going to put your embossing tool, your score tool up there in the little nook and drag it down through the track. Okay, and you can see I missed one, so I just went back and got it. So every ½ inch. Okay, so we didn't do 3, I can go back and get it. Okay, very simple, and then you can see all of our dry embossing lines here. Okay. The third way, and the way that I use most often, is with my cutter and an embossing stylus. My embossing stylus is always in my tool bag, very easy to grab out, and I of course always have my cutter, right? So what you're going to do with this is you're going to take the embossing stylus. It has two ends to it, a ball point, which is a little bit wider, and then a smaller one at this end. I like to use the wider one, and you're going to choose where you want. Now remember, I want the rays to be on the dark, so I'm going to start on the light side. You want to decide where your increments, right, for your first line. And I think I'm going to have to sit down to do this. Hopefully you don't get my head in there, but I can't stand up over and do it from up there. Okay, and then you're going to put your embossing stylus in the little track, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to not get my head in there, and okay, and drag it down. Okay, you don't want to go so hard that you tear through your paper, but you want to make sure that you are getting the line there, okay? And whatever increment that you choose is fine. Okay, you can see I was starting to feel like I was going to tear it, so I lightened it up a little. And this is how you would do your dry embossing on your paper trimmer. So you see I knew that I was starting to tear it there, okay? And if you mess up a measurement, again, you can just go back and put that one there in the center again, wherever you need them to be. And then voila, we have our dry embossing done. I just love the added texture and dimension touch that this adds to our projects. The next thing that we are going to do is go ahead and stamp our butterfly on the bottom here on the mulberry paper. And again, you can choose which side, but I chose to have the lighter side up. So I'm going to go ahead and get our little butterfly ready. And our cushion and our mulberry ink. My squeaky chair. All right, so we've got our mulberry ink and our butterfly stamp, and you can put a piece of scrap paper under here if you like, because we are going to stamp off the edges just a little bit. So I'm going to put this here. Remember our cushion underneath. This is just what I was showing our dry embossing example. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to stamp our butterfly. And I rotated one up, one down, all the way across, or one down, one up. So we're going to start here. And I'm just going to go slightly off, like that. Okay, there's our first one. And then I'm going to turn it over and do my next one right here. And the next one. I did this one down a little bit lower than I would have liked, but that's okay. It works out. And our last one right here. Super cute. So there we have those three pieces. We're going to clean our butterfly with our stamp chamois. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is stamp our butterfly. And again, we're going to use the Intense Black because I am using some alcohol markers and other stickles and things on there. So the Intense Black, it won't run. I'm going to go ahead and get this inked up real good. If you saw in my first card, I was mentioning that my Intense Black needs to be re-inked, so I'm just really making sure I get a good amount of ink on here. I'm going to go ahead and line this up on our thin cut, die cut piece here. And go ahead and stamp that down. Also, if you remember, if you hold it for just a couple extra seconds, that allows your ink to absorb better into your paper. Okay, and there is our butterfly. We'll go ahead and clean. We'll go ahead and clean our stamp with our stamp chamois. Okay, and ready to put that back. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do here on our butterfly is I used the light or the medium. You could really use any, but I found that in the directions in the workshop guide, they have you using the water brush and the wisteria ink. the water brush and the Wisteria ink here on this, and I found that the Wisteria ink is so light. Okay, it's really even hard to see it in there. But how you do that is, again, you would take your Wisteria ink, you would squeeze your ink pad, you would use your water brush with some water in it to pick up the color out of the lid and color it, just like we did with the shimmer brush in card number 1. But here I thought that I liked the tri-blend marker better for this card, just that added extra touch. And I used the light and the medium on the butterfly. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that now. Just outlining some of those pieces. And then I went back over with the medium on just a few spots. There. All right, so that is our cute little butterfly. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I like to stamp before I put all of my pieces, but I wanted to kind of line up where things were going to be so that I knew where to stamp. So we're going to put all these pieces in here like this. And so we know that we want to stamp above this line here, okay? So we are going to stamp our beautiful in the Sundance ink. So I'm going to grab our beautiful here. Putting our stamp down on a flat surface and picking it up with your black is a better way to get it straight on your black. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to stamp this with the Sundance ink. I'm going to go ahead and ink that up there. Okay, and because I have some ink over here on the side, I must have rocked it a little bit on the black. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean that up so that I don't get that on my card. And we are going to stamp this right in the middle, right there. Okay, beautiful. Okay, and then we're going to clean our stamp and put it away, and we are going to get the happy birthday. And the happy birthday is going to be in the Wisteria. I did get a little bit high. I could have been down a little bit more. Okay, and we're going to put this right here. Okay. And then there's these two little accent pieces on the end. And in the directions, they did those in Wisteria also, but I decided that I liked it with the mulberry just to add in some additional color, and I thought it was just added a little extra softness to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there and turn it over and do one over here. Okay. We're going to remove our little pencil mark over here. Okay. And now we are ready to start assembling. We will start with our mulberry piece that we stamped the butterflies. Put that down on the bottom. Next, we're going to put our little flower piece. So again, the paper is two-sided, so you get to choose which one you want. And for this one, I liked the flowers in there better, or the color of the flowers. And then we are going to put our dry emboss piece. I could have been down a little bit more on my beautiful, but that's okay. Put this little guy down next. Okay, so let's put this guy here, and we are going to go ahead and put our adhesive in here. And I know this is too big, we're going to cut it. Mine's too big. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put this here, right at the top, like that. And then we will use our scissors to trim. Okay, so I left mine a little bit long. You'll have cut yours the right size, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim mine there. All right, so now we have that piece down there, and look at what a difference that makes. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is our embossing thread. And when the embossing thread comes on this little spool here, it has creases, and it's really hard to get the creases out of that. You know, like thread, when you're gonna sew your needle and thread, it comes wrapped around a spool in a circular motion, where circular spool, where this is got these creases in it and they're hard to get out. So I suggest that you wrap it around something. It will help get those creases out. Or if you just cut a piece off and let it sit for a while, it also helps to get those creases out of it. Okay, so now when we're ready to use our embossing thread, what I like to do is take it and wrap it around a few of my fingers a couple of times, cut off what I don't need. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use right there. Hopefully you can see that okay. And I'm going to take, in this case, because I'm putting pop dots up there, I'm going to take a pop dot and I'm going to put that here on my embossing thread. And I'm going to put it where I want it. Okay, and I know it looks a little wild and crazy right now, but that's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to trim these little extra ends here that I don't need. Okay. And then I'm going to put my other pop dots on the back of my butterfly. Peel those off. Okay. And put that there. And then we have our embossing thread under our butterfly. I'm going to stick another, oh I see I got two of them up there. Stick another one up here. There. Voila! Okay, and then the next thing, so on this one, I used the silver gems instead of the wood pieces. I thought it just added, I mean, both of these cards are absolutely beautiful. But this one just has a softer touch about it, and I thought that the silver added to that softness versus the wood pieces there. So here I have the Close to My Heart tool. This is one of our new tools if you haven't seen this yet. It's called Paper Crafting Tool Z3520, and it's got two ends to it that you can use for picking things up with. And I have my gems here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up, I'm going to use this end, pick up one here. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and use this, and I'm going to place this one right there. And then I'm going to use some smaller ones here. We're going to put, and I don't think I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to put it here because I got everything so high up there. Okay. Another option, if you don't have this awesome tool, is to use our scissors. But when you use the scissors, you want to make sure that you're not removing the sticky, because sometimes they will pick up without the sticky. So there's another option, using your scissors like that. And look at how super cute. The next thing for card number 2 is to add our stickles to the butterfly. Just making sure we're stuck down there. So we're going to go ahead and add some stickles just to the points, or these little dots here. The silver stickles and the silver gems and that embossing thread all tie together so nicely with these colors. Very cute. All right, so here is card number 2 per the directions. I got a little gem sticking to my finger. Per the directions, and then the Creative Design Studio makeover. Super cute. So we've learned about our dry embossing. We've learned about our embossing thread, that you want to wrap it around something to help get rid of those creases, right? Super fun, and just adding that little extra bling in there, such a difference that it makes. So I hope that you have enjoyed card number 2. I will see you back in card number 3.